Hello everybody and welcome to week 9 of our online class here, learning to program with Visual Basic. This week actually we some schools had the 20th and the 21st, or Thursday and Friday, off for a kind of spring break thing here. I know some of you don't, so I actually am putting this content up early. I'm not expecting this week to start until the 24th of March and then end on Tuesday, April 1st, so it'll be that normal. It'll actually start on a Monday and end on a Tuesday for this one. But for those of you that are around and have school, if you want to get a jump start on this week's stuff, so you're not so crunched for time, you can certainly do that. It was kind of apparent that with us working on these sub-procedures and functions that a little bit more practice is in order to feel comfortable, and that's normal. We're kind of moving on to some big issues there, and I think that's the hard part about the online class. In the face-to-face class, I think we get a lot more practice with some of the programming concepts than here. It's like, you're watching this stuff, you're making maybe 1 or 2 programs with it, and so getting enough practice so that you really know what's going on can be tough sometimes. So for the most part, I am asking you just to practice more with those concepts of sub-procedures and functions. I'll talk about that here in a second, what the program you're going to make this week. I did add 1 or 2 little concepts that I threw together that are really pretty easy. They shouldn't really be taxing for you as far as what they're doing. It's just setting access keys and the tab index order for objects in your program. I think you'll find that pretty simple to do, but and it's just really in the design part of your program. But at the same time, they're important in making your program look like a professional kind of Windows program. Then the other part of it is, like I said, is practicing with the sub-procedures and functions. You're going to make your first card game here. So I set some guidelines here for what you have to do. Like previously, you need to have a valid entry function for something in the program. There doesn't have to be a wagering system like the other one. It could just be something where you're expecting them to put in a username or something like that, but a function that checks for a valid entry on that. A random number function that's creating a random number to assign the cards in your game. A sub-procedure that is assigning the card pictures to picture boxes in the game. Okay, and then putting the tab index order and access keys in, like the new content that was mentioned for this week. Okay, so I didn't come up with the rules of the game or anything like that. That's for you to do. I guess my advice for you on that would be, if you're still kind of struggling with some of these functions and sub-procedures, make the card game a simple one so you don't have too much to deal with there. It does need to be more advanced than a simple, the computer gets a card, I get this card, and we're comparing them. There should be some option in there, maybe to draw another card. Basically, where you see the card back, and maybe you can click on the card to draw it if you want, or another button to draw it if you want, something like that. So it is your creative addition to this, is basically figuring out how the card game is going to work. Okay, but then you're applying all those other principles to it as well. Okay, and so you got that going on, and then on the end of this week, which will be Tuesday, April 1st, there is going to be a short quiz on sub-procedures and functions. This is an important concept for designing your programs and limiting the amount of code that's in there. So I just want to have a quiz about those concepts to ask you some questions to see if you understand what's going on, and to give you feedback if you're not sure on how to answer those questions. So that's week 9. I'm posting it today so that some of you can get a jump start on it if you want to. Some of you might not be even looking in here and doing anything with it till the 24th of March, but that's all right too. If you are one of those people that's having a longer weekend, have a good break, and we'll see you next week.